Everyone, and now I think we have Ravi Gupta. Thank you. What an intro.
All right, we're almost home. So I want to start by thanking a lot of people who helped make this weekend possible. First, I hope she's in the room. Is Caroline Edinger here? There she is. Let's give her a round of applause. So, a lot of you might not know her because she's been working behind the scenes, but she has been the lead for this summit and has been tremendous. We also have Ashley Porter, who's been doing our advance for this, but she had to leave to go to a wedding for today, but she was here yesterday, and she's been wonderful. She's helped us put on every single one of our summits. We have Lauren Billy, who just helped us through this community time that we had, who has been instrumental in helping to build you as hosts and facilitators, but also helping us with programming. So thank you, Lauren, very much. If you are a host or a facilitator, please stand up. Let's thank all of our hosts and facilitators. I want to thank Chris Marte. Chris, where is Chris? Member of our team with Lauren has been coming in and out of Philadelphia to help meet the folks who've been making change on the ground, helping to build a strong host committee inside a program. He's also, raise your hand if you live in Lower Manhattan. If you live in Lower Manhattan, it's a decent amount of you. He is on the ballot on Thursday for a state committee, all the way at the bottom. Make sure you vote for him. Lee Pedanoff, where's Lee? He's been helping us everything from our ticketing to audio, visual, working with the wonderful staff here at the convention center, marketing. He helped commission this illustration. Thank you, Lee, for everything you do. I think your parents have already left, but we'll thank them for bringing you into this world as well when we see them later. Aaron Fitzgerald, been to every single one of our summits, has helped us tremendously in every one of the summits and came back here and helped us through this community time, among others. Our wonderful MCs, Erica and Jason. Where's Erica? Thank you, Erica. Our last MC, Raquel Turan, went on and ran for office within a year and won, so no pressure. What we expect big things from you this year. Navaris, our DJ, thank you so much. And let me start thanking a few people by category. Our wonderful arena staff. I think they were basically leaning against the wall, exhausted over here before. But arena staff, come over to the front so we can see you wherever you are. We've got a bunch of them in the room. I hope they're still here. Our wonderful speakers and panelists, thank you so much for bringing it. Our trainers, the folks who did office hours, our facilitators, I've thanked you already. Our volunteers, so many great volunteers. Stand up if you volunteered for this, helped with check-in or anything else here in this event. Let's give a round of applause. And particularly with the volunteers, I want to thank Josh Henderson, who's been our volunteer lead. Also, he's a jack of many trades. He also led our efforts in Virginia for the 2017 election. So he's doing all sorts of things for the arena. Thank you, Josh. And he's on his way to Wisconsin after this to help lead the coordinated, or work with the coordinated campaign there to help bring home some victories there. I want to thank the crew of the convention center, the AV crew, and everybody here who's given us a piece of their weekend and worked tremendously hard for us. And I want to thank our sponsors, the AAM and CrowdPack, for helping make this event possible. And there are also some folks who, there are folks who aren't here that I want to thank. I want to thank the folks that we've met in the previous 4 summits who are out there campaigning right now and trying to bring home victories for November. So let's give it up for those folks in their absence. So I'm going to take Priya's advice. I'm going to close this out on a non-logistical item. So she says you can't close on logistics, so I'm going to take her word on that. And I saw you stand, a lot of you, stand up for two questions that she asked you. One was, do you have a family member who voted for Trump? And the second was, do you believe America can close the gap between its promise and its reality? So a lot of you stand. Some of you didn't, and I want to honor that. So I'm about to deliver a message that may resonate more with the folks who stood, but I also want to acknowledge the folks who didn't and let you know I hear you and I understand in many ways where you're coming from. But if you believe those two things, if you believe that America can close the gap between the promise and the reality, and you have people that you love, whether your family members or other people who voted for Trump, then you might be dealing with some of the issues that I'm dealing with right now. And so I'm going to leave you with this message. This is a message I wrote on Facebook on November 8th, 2016 at 5:03 p.m. All right, so this was before the polls closed. This is the last probably thought that I can gather I had before our worlds changed and we became part of this post-16 election environment. And so I'm going to read you this post, and I'm going to read this to you, and I'm going to give you two caveats. Number one, I wrote this thinking that Hillary was going to win, so there's probably some embarrassing stuff in here about certain assumptions I was making. The second is that you're definitely not going to agree with everything I have in this post, but given that we've spent a weekend together, I'm going to read it anyway. So here's the post. I just drove 7 hours from Mississippi to Nashville, through some of the deepest red counties in the US to make it home in time to cast my vote. It gave me a lot of time to reflect. I wonder what happens tomorrow. No matter your political beliefs, you'll wake up in a country where about half of your fellow citizens cast a ballot for someone with a dramatically different worldview than your candidate. This is deeply personal for me. My family is split down the middle, and I've spent almost half my life in deep Trump-supporting territories like Staten Island and Mississippi. I have a lot of love for many folks who will vote for Trump, and their votes don't diminish that love. Why? Because some of the people who have been the most kind to me in my life and who I've done extremely important work with for kids, like some of my comrades down in Mississippi, are voting for Trump. Many of these folks have been incredibly generous and supportive of me and have become like family. Our work will continue, as will our friendships. At the same time, I've experienced some incredibly unkind and unfair treatment at the hands of fellow Hillary Clinton supporting Democrats because of the issue of school choice. These folks have stood in the way of progress for my students, and many fellow Democrats in Nashville backed a local school board candidate who, like Trump, is a bombastic, sexist bully who has done terrible things to people, including some of my best friends. They showed the same lack of courage that Reinstein Company put on display nationally, because they too wouldn't stand up to a bully if it meant paying a political cost. America is a complicated place. I'll continue to push my friends to see the world the way I do, and I expect them to do the same. I wish the gap wasn't so wide, but the only answer is to try. If you believe, as I do, that America is already great, then double down on engaging the other half, who'll wake up deeply disappointed tomorrow. On the other hand, if you believe your task is to make America great again, then start by taking down your Facebook posts that peddle in conspiracies and hate towards your fellow Americans. Engage in a real dialogue with humility. That alone will make our country greater. And so that's what I wrote. And obviously I assumed that I was on the winning side of that election when I wrote that. But if that message were true when I thought we were going to win, it's got to be true when we lose, at least for me. And so I leave you with this thought. The theme of this summit is love in action. And my heritage, part of it, comes from Gandhi. My grandfather was a cloth merchant who gave up their business to join the boycott of British cloth. He embraced a movement, like many people who were part of a certain part of the civil rights movement in the United States, embraced a movement that had a theory based on loving your enemy and engaging in a way that seems a little unfamiliar to the way that a lot of folks are engaging today. And that is not the objectively right way to go about things, but that's the philosophy that I embrace and that I hope I can persuade some of you to embrace, meaning you can love your enemy, but still resist fiercely and defeat them. That's what my family did in India when they took their country back from folks who, because of the color of their skin, and because of their religion, because of their caste, exploited them for centuries. And we defeated them there, took our country back there, and we will defeat our opponents, our political opponents, over the next few years if we work really hard and we band together. The question is, what do we do after this? I think about this all the time. And if we go low, as we were talking about earlier, and as Michelle Obama talked about in this very city in 2016, then it's going to be really hard to get out of that very low place once we take power. It's going to be really hard to turn around and find those family members that a lot of us have and friends that we have who have embraced a political philosophy that we, to put it very lightly, that we disagree with. How are we going to turn around and lead them? And so my ask of everybody as we leave is to embrace that love. You don't have to do it. We're a community where folks can disagree. But try to think about what it would mean to actually build a country where even those folks that we're going to defeat would feel welcome, and where we're going to increase the quality of their life, as Mitch Landrieu said, and help as many of them as possible see the light and embrace a more humane political philosophy and treat their fellow citizens better. That's my hope for the future. And then we have the action part. The post I wrote right after this post was a cryptic message. I think some of you got it. That I wrote the next day. I said, I don't know what we're going to do, but if you're interested in taking action, then respond to this message. And that's how the first Arena Summit came about. And so I want to thank all of you for responding to that. And I'm just going to acknowledge that I wrote in this post about doing all this great work for kids with people who I disagree with, but I'm also going to acknowledge the fact that I walked away from that fight to join a different one, to defeat a lot of the same people that I talk about loving in that post because they have to be defeated. And so I'm going to continue on, and I hope many of you join me in this fight to resist fiercely. And I believe we can go high and still be fierce and good at what we do, embrace strong tactics, right? I believe we can do this. I think we can absolutely win back both houses this time, and win back the president next time, and win back state legislatures all across this country in a way that's permanent, and a way that makes lives better for a lot of people who are marginalized right now, and still create a country that a ton of folks, not all of them, we'll never get all, but a lot of folks who are on the other side of the aisle feel proud to call their country. I really believe that. And so I want you to keep joining us. We're going to do another summit early in 2019. I'll leave it vague, but it will be in an early presidential state. So it'll be exciting. We'll probably have a lot of folks coming through who are going to be looking for our vote for 2020. But I care a lot less about them than I care about you. So when we send this invite out, I want you to circle that date. And if you need help getting there, I want you to reach out to us and reach out to me personally if you need help getting there. And I want you to find at least one other person and bring them there too, because we want to continue to grow this community, because we not only want to see you, but we want to see people you care about or not in this room. And so I hope to see you tonight. I want to thank everybody for being here. I love you. Be safe both tonight and heading back into your communities, and fight like hell through November and into 2019 and 2020. Thank you, everybody.